Hey, welcome to OP Said. I'm Marie, and these Reddit stories are next level.
I'm Mel, and if you love the drama as much as we do, but that isn't ours, you've come to the right channel.
And I may sit back, enjoy the ride because it's going to be wild.
All right, let's get into it. Our first story is from Am I the Arsehole? And the title alone has me raising my eyebrows. So, am I the arsehole for taking back the car I gave to my stepdaughter after she disrespected me? I, 45 male, married my wife, Clara, 43 female, 5 years ago. She has a daughter, Lily, 17 female, from her previous marriage. I've always tried to build a good relationship with Lily, but it's been an uphill battle. She's polite but distant and has made it clear I'm just her mum's husband. Still, I've done my best to support her, driving her to soccer games, helping her with homework, and showing up whenever I could. Clara hasn't been working for the past 2 years. She left her job to pursue her dream of becoming an artist. I supported her decision, even though it meant I had to take on more hours at work to keep us afloat. It's been tight financially, but I wanted Clara to feel fulfilled, and I believed we'd get through this together. Last year, Lily got her driver's license, and despite the extra strain, I worked overtime to save up and buy her a used car. It wasn't anything fancy, just a 2010 Honda Civic, but I wanted her to have some independence. I thought it would also help bridge the gap between us. When I handed her over the keys, she seemed happy, even gave me a hug, which felt huge coming from her. I thought we were making progress. Last month, I overheard Lily talking to her friend. She said, I hate him. He's pathetic, thinking that car will make me like him. I just pretend to be nice so mum doesn't get mad. Her words felt like a punch to the gut. I've sacrificed so much to support this family, and hearing her mock me like that really crushed me. I told Clara what I overheard, hoping she'd back me up, but she brushed it off. Lily's a teenager, she doesn't mean it, just let it go. But I couldn't let it go. A week later, I asked Lily directly if she really felt that way. She didn't deny it. She just shrugged and said, I didn't ask for the car, so I don't owe you anything. When I told her how much her words hurt, she rolled her eyes and said, if you're upset, take the car back. I don't care.
Bet.
So I did.
Good.
The next day, I took the spare key, drove the car to the dealership and sold it.
Good.
I figured the money could go towards bills I've been struggling to cover since Clara stopped working. When Lily found out, she was furious. She called me a petty jerk and said I was punishing her for being honest. Clara blew up too. She accused me of overreacting and claimed I'd ruined my relationship with Lily permanently. Clara argued that I should have consulted her first and said my actions were unfair, especially since Lily is just a kid. She also pointed out that Lily is already struggling emotionally because of our financial situation, which she says I'm constantly bringing up. But I'm tired of being disrespected. I've worked so hard to keep this family afloat while Clara chases her dreams, and I feel like I've been taken for granted by both of them. Now the house is tense. Clara says I need to apologise and consider buying Lily another car.
Nope.
But I feel like that would just enable her behaviour. Am I the arsehole for taking back the car I gave to her after she disrespected me?
Nope.
No.
No. His wife and his stepdaughter are ungrateful. They don't appreciate that man. He's not the asshole. And no, he does not owe Lily an apology. She was bold enough to say she doesn't care about it, sell it if you want. And so he did. So he said bet and he did. That's just the circumstances. There are actions and consequences, and these are the consequences. And as for the mum, apparently keeps bringing up the fact that they are tight in terms of finances. Sis, you've been unemployed for 2 years trying to chase your dream as an artist. If you really want Lily to go get that car, go and buy it with your own cash dollars.
He is absolutely not the arsehole. Actions, consequences. That was literally it. She said what she said, and he literally did what she said he should do. She actually gave him the A-OK by saying, you know, if you want to sell it, then sell it if that's how you feel.
Exactly.
And the thing is, at 17, you do know that there are also like your words matter, they do count. So I think she can be as upset as she wants, that's fine. That's completely fine. But at the end of the day, her words count, and also there are consequences to her actions. So I think it's time that she realised that. But you know what? More than anything, I think this household is really chaotic. I think that there's a lot happening in that household, and I think that his wife, OP's wife, she needs to get a part-time job.
Yeah.
At the very least, get a part-time job, because honestly, it's stressing this man out. Like, you can actually tell that fundamentally the issue is finances.
Yeah.
And so, bearing that in mind, even if she just gets a part-time job, that'll alleviate some of his stress. It will reduce it. And then he won't, because clearly unconsciously he is bringing it up and he doesn't even realise that he's bringing it up that often. So I think the foundational issue is finances. But at the same time, he also feels really greatly and gravely unappreciated by his wife and also his stepdaughter. I really think it's finances that needs to get tackled first. And I really want Opie to take into, like, listen, hear the words that she did say. She doesn't like you. Like, bear that in mind with how you treat her going forward. I don't think that he needs, no, it's not treat her badly or anything, but just know that he's never going to be in her good graces. Like, she fundamentally doesn't like him.
No, but she's a child.
She is a child. I understand that. But just know where you stand with her from that situation. But as I said, first tackle the finances, and then, don't buy a car. Honestly, she said what she said, and there are actions and consequences. And that's it. What do you think?
I disagree with Melinda in the sense of she is a child. I think a lot of things go towards, oh, they're just children. Oh, it's just a child. Children are people. They have their characteristics and characters from when they are like, even my children, I can see what they're going to be like because they have characteristics that I can see will develop into what they could be as adults, whether it's nurtured, whether it's whether you tackle it from when they're still going to have those characteristics. You can tell.
See, sorry, I have to say, I disagree with you. You are correct. You can see certain characteristics, but when everybody goes through puberty, how they are at that stage is not necessarily reflective of how they're going to be when they're older.
It's true.
That's
I
like
agree.
literally,
I
you
agree.
said that
I
yourself.
agree.
You said that in the last episode.
Yes, I do agree that children are, what I'm going to say, they're cunty during those ages.
Exactly.
But it's mostly between the ages of 13, year 8, to about 16. The hormones tend to die down around
But that
older.
But that isn't always the case.
No, it's not
so
always the
therefore-
case. But at the end of the day, they've been together for 5 years. She
Yeah.
hasn't liked him for 5 years. I'm so sorry.
But she was 12 when he came. It wasn't like she was really
Guys,
young. So she. But wait,
if
so
I
when
haven't
they
liked you
entered-
for a second,
No, but
for
he came 5 years because we don't know how long they were together prior to marriage, yeah?
Yeah.
So let's just say he's been on a scene 6 to 7 years because normally people get married or whatever, 1 to 2 years thereafter.
Minimum.
6, yeah. It was during the years that you said, in terms of puberty, in terms of those awful years.
12 is not, babe.
It's 17 is young.
She hasn't liked him for a really long time.
Yeah.
Let's say she's never liked him. She's tolerated him. As a child, you have tolerated him, and you're getting older, you're still tolerating him. The chances of her liking him in her adult years are going to be slim to none. So, in my opinion, this is a
disagree.
person that's
Are you
not
serious?
not going to like someone probably forever. Because I have times when I haven't liked my stepdad, but I genuinely liked him as a person. It's just that I went through a stage where I'm assuming I was a rubbish little teenager and we were disagreeing. But ultimately, there were still times when ultimately I liked him. But this person doesn't like him.
She doesn't.
So she's not a person that likes him. Even if she's 35, I guarantee you they're not going to get along, especially after what's happened now. She might tolerate him or learn that he's not going to put up with her rubbish behaviour. In my opinion, they're not going to like each other. So as far as I'm concerned, he needs to treat the situation as it is. This person doesn't like me. I'm going to do my best to make sure that she knows that she can come to me for the basic things. I'm still going to take you to soccer. I'm still going to help you do all the things that a parent would do. But ultimately, I know you don't like me, and I'm going to treat it as such.
I see what you mean, but this is where I do disagree. I don't think who you are at 17 is who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And then in regards to this dilemma, I don't think it was about Lily liking him or not. That is kind of irrelevant. It's more so her attitude in regards to the gift that was given and how she behaved thereafter. And then in regards to the wife's reaction to her daughter's bad behaviour, I think this is what the dilemma is. Whether or not Lily likes him or not is irrelevant. It's her attitude thereafter. Like, she literally
Her
has got...
attitude is because of...
Agreed.
It's backed by the fact that she doesn't like him.
Agreed, but I'm telling you right now, because I have manners, even when I didn't like something, I was grateful enough to say, thank you so much, and behave a certain type of way. But she doesn't, and then it's okayed by her mother. Her mother backs her. She doesn't actually back her husband, which is where he is not only being unappreciated, he's also being disregarded in his own home. And I think that's half the problem. This is why the wife thinks it's okay for him to be disregarded, disrespected by her teenage daughter. And not only does she see that he's a human being, like, those words hurt. She should have backed him and said, okay, that's unacceptable. You don't actually treat someone like that. Like, she should have seen that, backed her husband, even if it is just in front of Lily. Do you know what I mean? And just so they can appear like a united front. But she didn't do that. And then what she, in fact, offered was for him to apologise to Lily, the person that did wrong, to the do-wronger.
And buy a new car.
And for him to actually reward her bad behaviour by saying that he needs to buy her a new car. I don't agree with that at all. Clearly money is tight. And the fact that he actually prioritised and put a little bit aside showed that he's not a terrible person, and it should have gone appreciated. So, like May said, the mum needs to get a little part-time job and she can buy her own daughter a car, because clearly Lily doesn't care at the moment, and I would say it's because she's a teenager, what that man does for her. From how OP wrote in, there's no reason why she should dislike him for the rest of his life. But remember, it is one-sided. So, the advice is, no, you're not the arsehole at all.
Yeah, I disagree with you strongly, but yeah, go on.
But you know what? I will say one thing's really, really clear to me. His wife and his stepdaughter think he's a punk.
Yeah, they don't appreciate him at all.
Yeah, but that feels
he
like
is
it's
a
overall.
wuss and a punk.
Yeah.
The wife has no intention of contributing financially to this household, but she doesn't want you to bring up the fact that, finances are tight. What is her name? The stepdaughter, she has every intention of continuing on the path that she's on, where she's wrong and strong, never apologises.
Her mum doesn't tell her to.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Why would she?
I think it boils down to they think that he's a punk.
They do.
Yeah, but that's also because if you've been together for 5 years, this is a single issue that we're seeing. This is one example. There's been examples like this.
Oh, 100%.
So, which means that when is she ever going to like this guy?
Do you know what?
She's a product of her environment.
100%. She doesn't like him, but you cannot like somebody and still respect them.
Exactly.
And I'm telling you, when you think someone's a punk, you don't have any respect for them.
I agree with that.
Agreed, but if she comes out of her teenage years, becomes an adult, and becomes a full function, a decent individual, from what OP has written in, and this is what I'm saying, there's no reason why she should dislike him when he's older. It just seems to be more so right now, she's just being a brat. Literally, she just sounds like a brat.
Probably.
Okie dokie. Completely off topic, we know that 96% of you that watch this channel do not subscribe. If you find any of our content interesting or even entertaining, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and X at OP Said Podcast.
Okay, so my story comes from wedding drama. Future sister-in-law wedding drama. Advice for how to handle the situation. First, it's a longer post as I want you guys to have all the details before coming to a decision. So I, 25 female, have recently gotten engaged to 26 male. We've been together for 5 years now. I have 2 older brothers. He has 1 sister, 25 female, and 1 brother, 19 male. We have been trying to finalise plans of size and who we want in our bridal party. I was thinking 6 to 7 bridesmaids / groomsmen. He wants his brother in the wedding, but I told him I can pick who I would like on my side. Apparently, his sister's asked him multiple times if she's going to be in the wedding. Now, I have never felt very light, warm feelings from the sister before, but he keeps asking if she's going to be in the wedding. Initially, I planned on having her in the wedding due to him having only 1 sister, and the issues it may cause in the future if I don't put her in. However, a few things have happened since then. One, when we first got engaged, not even 24 hours afterwards, she asked me lots of questions about the wedding, including if kids would be at the wedding. I have a very big family with lots of younger kids that I don't really talk to, so we discussed privately about inviting 16-plus-year-old guests, with the exception of our nieces and nephews on my side that will be in the wedding as our flower girls and ring bearers. She then proceeded to berate me on how that wasn't fair, and if my nieces and nephews are invited, all the kids should be invited. I am not a very confrontational person, and I didn't want to get on the wrong foot with any family members a day after we got engaged. I just told her, well, we haven't really finalised the plans yet, as we have just gotten engaged, but I would keep that in mind and change the conversation. 2, to preface, my sister-in-law is a very pretty girl. She is small and petite. She's had a few boyfriends since we've been dating, but she's kind of chronically single. My fiancé jokingly says she can't get a +1. A lot of men come up and hit on her, and I do think she's very beautiful. I've never been insecure about that, as we are very different people, and everybody has different body shapes. For example, I have never been the smallest person. I would say I am overweight, and I do want to lose weight before my wedding, obviously. I recently asked my fiancé why she doesn't like me, because I wanted to know, as we are about to get married, and if there's anything I could do to make our relationship better between his sister and I, as she seems to like his younger brother's girlfriends, who are also skinny and petite. He told me that she was jealous. I questioned him because I was like, why is she jealous of me? She's beautiful, has a well-paying job, and seems to be fairly happy with her life. He told me, as I am not a very fit person in comparison to her, she was jealous and had certain feelings that I was getting married or found someone to spend the rest of my life with before her, as I was out of shape, /ugly, aka not as pretty as her in her eyes.
What is this man saying?
Obviously, being a bigger person, I've always felt a little self-conscious about my weight, which makes me feel a certain way, as he's asked me to invite her dress shopping with me. I have already asked his mum to go with me, as she is a very sweet lady. However, this new information makes me want to not invite her dress shopping with me, or even be in my wedding, as she feels a certain way about me and my body. Mm-hmm. 3rd, she always complains about money and repeatedly says she doesn't have any. This year for Christmas, she even said she wasn't giving anyone gifts, parents or siblings, because she didn't have any money. However, she got a present for his younger brother's girlfriends. It didn't really bother me, as I don't care to get a gift from her. However, it's just that she's always complaining about it. In addition, she is currently in a wedding for her friend this year and has complained to me multiple times about how much she is spending. To my knowledge, the only thing they've asked her to spend so far is $200 for an Airbnb for the bachelorette trip. As I have been in multiple weddings before, I know the expenses of a bridesmaid, and I have always paid them because I want them to be happy on their day, and I want to be there to support a big day in their life. 4th, she has always come off self-centered to me, and everything's always about her. Especially when she's home. She lives a few hours away. Everyone always has to cater to her when she's home. Now when she's home, my fiancé and I always try to spend time with her and have always tried to invite her to do things with us, as we are similar ages, and we do always try to cater to her needs. She also just gives the vibe, and the horror stories you hear about family members going against the couple's wishes about stuff in the wedding and just being kind of a pain in the arse. With all this information, it makes you question if I should have her as a bridesmaid in my wedding, if it's worth the drama or not. If my fiancé wants her in the wedding, I do respect his wishes, as he has given me free rein to do whatever I want for our day. However, it makes me think, if she doesn't have the money or doesn't want to spend it on my bachelorette trip, bridesmaids dresses, etc., or if she doesn't like me or the way I look, should I even ask her to be a bridesmaid, or should I confront her about the situation and be like, this is how much money it would be to be in our wedding. Is it feasible for you or not? Because I don't really want to hear you complain or make this day all about you. Or I could just ask her, hey, I get the vibe you don't like me, and I just want to fix it before I become a permanent member of your family. Please help with any advice. Top comment, this is capital letters. Do not allow her dress shopping. Don't let her steal your joy, please. No to bridesmaid, bachelorette party, or dress shopping. Give her a reading or candle lighting, and that's it. Protect your peace. Congratulations. And then loads of emojis. Yeah, what do you guys think? Should she be invited? Yes? No?
Do you know what? I was in a similar situation, and no shade, but if you're not my friend, you're not going to be my bridesmaid. Simple as. I don't like my sisters-in-law who I'm closer to now. I wasn't as close to them when I was getting married, and I just said no, I don't want them to be my bridesmaid because we're not close. I only want the people that are in my life currently that I appreciate to be my bridesmaids. And that was my reason. We were still cool. We're better now, but... And you don't like me. Why do people keep...
Literally.
Like, you don't like me.
Yep.
I know for a fact you don't like me.
Yep.
So why would I want to fix it? Like, what is going on here? I understand that there's a lot of people that want to be liked. Especially when it comes to, like, you know, you're going to marry into a family.
Yeah.
You want it to be good vibes. But... So... Like,
Not that being the conclusion.
that is
Not
the conclusion.
struggle.
It's just like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
I'm coming into your family. I'm a firm believer that if someone comes into your family, it's actually the family's duty to welcome them in,
Thank
not the other way
you.
around. So when I see people like, oh, how can I make you like me? I'm like, if it hasn't happened by now, guess what? That's why I'm just like, well, I'm the stranger here. If you haven't made the effort, then it ain't gonna be me that's gonna become the beg of the family and be like, oh, what's everyone doing today? Absolutely not. No.
Yeah. I'm in agreement. I don't think it should be by force. His sister shouldn't get invited just because her brother wants her in, which is OP's fiancé. If they're not close, no. And it clearly seems that the soon-to-be sister-in-law doesn't really like her. So leave it at that. It's not by force. Top comment was great in terms of the advice. Give her a little role. There's so many roles in a wedding. You can give her usher. There's like loads, aren't there? Loads of different roles. So just give her that and leave it at that. And do not have the conversation about, do you like me? Do you not? Just leave it. If you're going to be in this family for a long time, you can work on your relationship. You can get closer if that's meant to be. But yeah, don't invite her into your wedding party. It'll just be a headache, honestly. And do not give her the choice as to how much it could cost financially. She seems a little bit spoiled, even though she's the same age as you at 25. She may think, if you give her the option, she may think that her family can cover the costs. So don't give her that option either. Just maybe give her a little role.
Yeah, honestly, I think OP knows the answer to this, if I'm honest. And the answer is no. She should not be part of your wedding party in any way, shape or form. Dress shopping's not going to happen. This is supposed to be your moment. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be insecure on that day that you go dress shopping.
Yeah,
I think that's
that
crazy.
would make her feel that way,
Imagine
right?
feeling so insecure and
And
just
you know
worried
someone
about,
thinks you're big.
and somebody literally thinks, oh,
Yeah.
so like there was ugly / overweight. What? That's how you're describing me. That's not going to fill me with confidence on a day that I should be excited about. So, no,
Literally.
she's definitely not invited to dress shopping. And she doesn't deserve a role within the wedding party based on the 4 reasons you just gave. I just don't really know what else to say. I think it's crazy. But and please do not ask somebody to like you. That's essentially what you're coming to do. You're asking her how to fix things so she can like you. Have confidence. I know confidence is something that you either have or that you don't, but I'm telling you, there's also this thing about like power and giving power over. As soon as you have this conversation with her and you're asking, how can I fix this? Because I'm going to be part of your family. Yeah, you've lost all the power. Like, literally, you've given her all the power. And she'll know that, by the way. At the moment, she's jealous of you. That means, unbeknownst to you, you have a little bit of power here.
You're winning.
You're literally winning. And then for you to then ask, oh, how can we fix this? Yeah. Oh, what can I do?
Don't do it.
I'm going to be part of your family permanent. I can't stress to you, you've lost.
Wild, wild west.
As soon as you have that conversation
But
with anybody.
But that's why I said, look, if the marriage is to last a long time, they can work on it. Literally, whether it's in year 3, year 5,
I don't think there's
or
anything to
year
work
10.
on, to be
no,
honest.
But that's my
in
point.
this
Don't
life,
have
not
the-
everybody has to like you.
Agree, but don't
Even
have that
if you're marrying
conversation.
into that family.
Agree, but that's why I say don't have that conversation. Like, if it's meant to be, you work on it.
Yeah. And also, do you know what? Having that conversation, again, everything will be about this girl. Everything, like everybody caters to
she's
her,
self-centered.
and then you go and do it yourself. Like, why would you do that? Why would you pander to somebody like that?
Yeah, don't
It's
do it.
OP, you know it's a no. Come on.
Okay, so mine is from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the asshole for refusing to do anything around the house because my wife insisted on staying home with our child? I, 28 male.
What?
I know, he said anything. Okay. I, 28 male, have been with my wife, 27 female, for 4 years. I'm an electrician and she's an accountant. I make about 60k a year and she makes about 55k. 7 months ago, we had our first child. My wife was supposed to go back to work 2 months ago. She took the maximum maternity leave her company allows, 6 months, which she started 1 month before labour. When it was time to resume work, my wife told me that she would feel guilty and sad if we put our child in daycare. Therefore, she wants to stay home with him. I suggested therapy. She was very persistent and said nothing a therapist would say would change her feelings. At this point, it seemed like I had no choice, so I started calculating how much I would have to work to compensate her income. I usually work 45 hours a week, 9 to 5, and without her income, it would have to be at least 6 to 7, 10 hours a day, every day of the week. I told my wife how grueling it would be, and she tried convincing me by saying I must sacrifice for our child, and she would do all the childcare and housework, and I wouldn't have to do anything around the house. Even without any housework, it is still very extreme, but I reluctantly agreed because I felt I had no choice. So it happened. My wife resigned from her job, company policy, if you don't come back, you get replaced. And I picked up the extra hours. My day starts by going to the gym at 5 a.m. It's the only thing keeping me sane. And then I would work from 7 till 5 and get home about 5:30, absolutely shattered. And I just want to take a shower and rest. During the first month or so, my wife kept her word and took care of all the housework. But then she started expecting me to help her around the house. But I would remind her of our agreement and she would look annoyed but move on and do it herself. 2 days ago, she told me that she is tired and wants me to make dinner, and I flat out refused and told her she's breaking our promise. I made it very clear that she shouldn't expect anything from me when it comes to household and housework. She looked furious, but she got up and made dinner, and since then she's been giving me the silent treatment. I'm full of anger and resentment right now. First, she got me working 25 more hours a week, and now she's breaking her promise and trying to manipulate me by giving me the silent treatment. I'm losing my mind. Top comment: y'all need therapy or you're going to get divorced. Second comment: therapy would be a good idea, but what they really need is to have another discussion about the agreement. It's very clearly not working for either of them. He doesn't like working increased hours, and she doesn't like being the one who does the cooking and cleaning. What do you think? Is he the arsehole?
I don't think he's the asshole, but this is the worst situation they've put both of themselves in. It's a rubbish arrangement. Coming from someone who's been at home with the children, being a stay-at-home mum is not for me, especially if you are the kind of person that likes working, like to have that independence. And I'm not slating or saying anything negative about stay-at-home mums. I think it's a very after having done it, it's the best. It's the hardest job in the world. I choose to go somewhere else and do it the way I do it. So I definitely think that every mother should have just a little bit of me time, and you don't get that when you're a stay-at-home mum because there's always something to do. Laundry is the most grueling thing in the house. On top of everything, cooking, cleaning. She's got a 6-7 month old. They eat, they sleep, they wreck the house. It's not fun. You don't get to do anything.
The summary.
No, that's what they do. They learn to, like, there's only so much goo goo gaga you can take.
It's true.
In a household where you lose yourself. Postpartum is hellish for the most part. You dream of having kids, you have the kid, then you look at the kid and you're like, oh, was
is
this
my
the dream? Oh my God. So it's just like, it's such an overwhelming experience. So, and then all you're going to do, you never get to look glam anymore. You're always in this like t-shirts. So if your child has got reflux, they might be puking all the time, they might be sickly. Girl, you need to have some me time. The thing about having a parent that gets to leave the house is that they leave the house.
Yeah.
That time away, whether you're working, whether you're doing whatever, it's still time away from the house. And she clearly needs that. So I would suggest she pick up maybe like 10, 15 hours, even if she's working from home, to do something for her. But you guys just need to just have a bit of a split those chores up a little bit. And yes, you are working all those hours, but bruv, you can at least pick up a little broom or buy dinner if she doesn't want to cook. That is something that he could also do.
True.
Do you know what I mean? You can say, okay, do you know what? We can have a takeaway. If she's saying that she's tired,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you have to get up and do it, but you can also say, okay, once a week, you can do
But it
this, or
depends
you
on
can do
finances,
that.
right?
I actually disagree.
It depends on finances.
I
Yeah,
think-
true.
I think they had an agreement, and based on that agreement, he doesn't need to pick up even a broom. He literally doesn't have to wash even one plate.
No, but
Like,
I never said that. I said
no, because you're like, oh, like he should help out, and I'm like, no, he shouldn't, because fact of the matter is, look, I don't know what motherhood looks like, but I do know it's really tough when you have your kid and to leave them at home. I understand that, and the thing is, it's like that one situation has overruled everything.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally clouded her judgment on everything. I guarantee, based on the routine that he just listed,
Yeah.
they don't go on holiday. They probably don't have holiday money. They probably don't have date night money. So I need you to understand, it was this one moment in time where it was like, I can either, get ready for work the next day, or I can just stay with baby. And she thought long and hard about what it would be like to not be with baby. And that was the moment that decided everything going forward.
Yeah.
But since then, and I promise you, I'm not trying to devalue that moment at all. I'm really not. But I'm just saying, what has happened since then, the domino effect is I was trying to run the numbers back in terms of how much sleep he gets. He probably gets, let's say, 6 hours, right? And he's up at the gym for 5. So he has to be in bed pretty much between 10 to 11 p.m. at night. And he's saying that he then gets back in around 5:30. There's not that much time for him to spend quality time with his wife, to spend time with baby. And he said when he gets home, all he wants to do is unwind. So it's just like, you don't understand. This man he's dying inside. I want to be honest. Like, he is
7 days as well.
He's crumbling. And she's gone and said, like, oh, she created this pitch. He's run the numbers. They've agreed. And then slowly over time, she's like, oh, I can't. Can you? Oh, I can't. Can you? And then eventually, he's going to end up doing a lot more than the agreed. Mm-hmm. But he's the one that's actually run ragged. And it's not because I'm playing her role as a stay-at-home mum. I think it's one of the most important roles. But my thing is, this agreement, it doesn't work. And also the future is, you're going to have 2 very stressed out individuals. Like, literally.
They're
and
already
I
stressed
can't even suggest a part-time job, because they need to run the numbers again, don't they?
I think
they need to just revisit that conversation, run the numbers again, like what it'd look like. But my thing is, she doesn't get, so he's definitely not the arsehole in my eyes. She doesn't, 100%. But she doesn't get to keep asking him for help in the house when they had an agreement. He hasn't reneged even one moment from that agreement. He's been waking up groggy-eyed, going to the gym is the only sanity that this man has.
Yeah.
He's been doing his part. So it's just like, to ask him to even pick up a broom, I'll be like, sir, put that broom down. Sir, put that broom down. You had an agreement. She could have gone to work. Both of you could have gone to work, paid daycare, had a nice balanced relationship, looked after baby, and have free money, like time for a little getaway, little date night. But you guys had an agreement based on a moment where she couldn't leave your child. And here you are, you're definitely not the arsehole.
Yeah, definitely not the arsehole. I think the arrangement and agreement is unrealistic. And like May said, I think it all went downhill when she made a decision really emotionally. It was emotionally charged as a result of separation anxiety. And I understand that, you know, I understand motherhood, and the first day, apparently, when you take your child to daycare, it's supposed to be the worst. Most mothers are in tears.
Oh, I loved it.
But
Most, not Marie.
That's why I said most, not all. But most
was
mothers
like-
have like. Marie said it's enough.
Bye.
Do you know
I swear.
Bye.
But even Tam, like, he ran in, he was like, bye. I was like, oh, amazing. It was a good day for both of us.
I'm tired. But you know, most
Yeah.
mothers, they honestly have a meltdown. It's so terrible for them.
It
So
must-
I totally,
Do you remember that film we were watching, Dragged Across Concrete?
yeah.
And the
Oh,
beginning
the bank
is this,
teller, yeah.
the bank teller. If that day she hadn't gone into work,
I
she'd be
know.
alive.
I know.
But her husband literally locked the door and he's like, you have to go. You've used all your maternity leave.
Yeah, you have to
You've
go back to
used your
work."
annual leave. Like, go to work. She was like, no, but the baby.
She
I
left
have to
and then
see
she
the
came
baby."
back. And then
And she died that day, boy.
She promised.
Yeah.
It was so bad. Her anxiety was so bad. He said, go to work. She's like, no, I have to just smell him. I have
Yeah,
to
she's
touch
like, "I have
him.
to see the
So
baby."
she then puts
Opens
the
the
little
crack.
baby's leg through the door so she can smell it and touch it.
She
And
had.
he makes her promise that she
Yeah.
has to leave after she's touched him. That she can't have a meltdown. She has to go
Yeah.
to work. And so I get it. I really understand. Like, it's supposed to be bad. I get it. I really do. However, yeah, as I said, you know, generally you're not meant to make important decisions when you're emotionally charged. Unfortunately, this is the result of, and they've made a really, really, really unrealistic agreement because he doesn't sound like a heartless individual. So I'm
not.
pretty sure he wants to probably help his wife.
Yeah.
But as per the agreement, he is spent. I can't imagine working 10 hours, 7 days a week. Oh my God, I would actually
And he
die.
goes to the gym
He
as
goes to
well,
the gym.
so-
That makes you tired already, like, or possibly gives him a little bit of energy until when. I don't know how he's doing it, but I think top comment gave really good advice. Do go to therapy, marriage counselling, or you are definitely going to get a divorce. But have a conversation. Like, you lot need to rework and
don't know
rework the
if that's
plan.
gonna
Like, decide. No, they need to reassess everything because it's not working. And both of them, whether it's silently or not, they're gonna start resenting each other.
So mine is from Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for calling the police on my mother-in-law? I, 28 female, got married to my husband, 34 male, a week ago. We got engaged about a year ago, and when I got engaged, my mother gave me a pair of earrings, which she said every woman for generations in our family has worn to their weddings. They were 4-carat dangling earrings, and they were worth a lot. I felt very honoured to be given them, and it made me feel closer to my grandmother who had died 2 months prior. About 3 months after, I went wedding dress shopping with my mother, my sister, and my fiance's mother. I bought all the jewellery that I will be wearing to my wedding to see how they matched the dress. When I put the jewellery on, my mother-in-law kept going on about how gorgeous the earrings were. My mother explained the story and how they were family heirloom passed down generations. I found the dress of my dreams and bought it. On the day of my wedding, I had everything ready in my room, my wedding dress, my flowers, my shoes, my makeup and my jewellery. I was in there with my soon-to-be mother-in-law. I then needed to go to the toilet, and when I came back, my mother-in-law was gone. I wasn't sure what had happened, but I just thought she maybe got called away to do something. I then noticed my earrings were gone. I knew straight away that she'd taken them.
Shameless.
Little thief. I found her and confronted her, and she said she didn't take them. I asked if I could look through her bag, and she said no and gripped onto it. I said if she didn't let me look, I would call the police, which I then did, as she still wouldn't let me look. The police arrived and searched her, and the earrings were found in her bag. They were returned to me, and they asked if I wanted to press charges. I wanted to talk to my fiancé first, and he said he would support me if I wanted to. I didn't want to decide in that moment, so I just ignored it and had a great night. That was a week ago, and ever since I've been getting loads of threatening messages and calls from my husband's side of the family. My mother-in-law has been sending me extremely hateful texts,
Wow.
and I think I want to press charges, but I'm still not sure if it's a good idea. top comment, not the arsehole. Mother-in-law is a thief that tried to make off
Yep.
with your heirloom earrings. F that. Press charges and be done with her.
Yeah.
I'm stunned.
Little thief.
Do you know what?
Has
I'm
she no
stunned,
shame?
yeah?
Of course she
Because-
hasn't.
Because
That's
this
disgusting.
is someone that's entering her family.
Literally.
Now, I'm so, and also such an obvious. She's a rubbish little thief as well.
Yeah. No, she's the
I
worst.
can't even stress what.
Because it was...
Imagine being like, oh, your earrings, they're so nice.
No,
they're
but
so
OP
nice.
added
And
that
then
up
they
quickly. That's how
disappear.
rubbish she is. There was only one person it could have been, and that was the mother-in-law, and she was right.
Do you know what?
That's
Just
a
for
bad
her
thief.
Stinky little attitude since. Yeah, press charges.
Yeah,
Press charges.
definitely press charges.
But do you know what I want to know though is how comes the son supports her?
Because he knows what his mum's like.
Yeah.
No, literally, what
But
son...
that means that like this is not the first incident.
Yeah. What son is okay with their mum,
Yeah.
with someone pressing charges against their mum full stop? Whether or not it's their girlfriend, wife or whatever, that's not normal. But it's because she must know what she's like. And she's sending hateful texts, guys.
Blocker.
She's shameless.
Of course she's shameless. But you know what? So
Whoa.
is the whole family. Because why are you sending... Because she didn't get her arrested or press charges. So imagine when she does.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's gonna be worse.
Everyone's crazy out here.
Sorry, that. No, that story is crazy.
I'm like, where's the shame?
It's actually
You don't understand. If you
insane.
do anything like that, I always think do it low key. Like do stuff in a way that you don't get found out. But she did it on her wedding day as well.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, on the wedding day.
Was it on the wedding day?
Yeah.
It was the day of the wedding.
She said she had the
Lit-
dress, everything
yeah.
laid out. And this is why I'm like, did you think she was going to notice?
Shameless. Not even after, like, they've come back from honeymoon and they're just in the house. Like, anyone, you know, if there was, like, loads of people in the house, it could be anyone, right? But she literally did it on the day of the wedding day. It was only her and the mother-in-law in the room at that time. So it could only be one person.
That is crazy.
She's awful. Yeah, press charges. Honestly, do you know what it is? There needs to be repercussions, honestly. That's it. There just needs to be repercussions. And she... Oh.
That's crazy. I'm like...
It's so wild.
I'm
Like,
so
who does
stunned,
that?
Yeah. I'm
She
just
said
like,
she clutched her purse. I'm like...
I don't know anyone like that. Like, it's wild to me, like, really crazy.
And I bet she thought, oh, she's not going to call the police. She's like, go on
Yeah.
then. I bet she thought.
And 4 carat, 4 carat's a lot of money.
This story comes from Truth of My Chest. I think my husband fathered his best friend's children, and now one of them is attracted to my daughter.
Bosa.
Wow.
I'm sat. Hold on.
That's crazy.
Wait, let me even read this again.
No, it's mad.
I think my husband fathered his best friend's children,
Wow.
and now one of them is attracted to my daughter.
Absolutely
want the
not.
That's family members.
Absolutely not.
Potential incest.
Okay,
Literally.
all names are fake.
Thank God.
This began as a dark, intrusive thought that I could never shake off, and over the years it has bloomed into a poisoned flower that's infected my entire psyche. I'm a 42-year-old woman. My husband Luke is 43, and so is Amy. I met Luke in college, but he's known Amy since they were 7. They did everything together and understood each other implicitly. They were best friends. They've always insisted that they are surrogate siblings to each other. Naturally, I, as a new girlfriend, felt a little threatened by Amy and her closeness to Luke, but they both reassured me I had nothing to worry about, that their bond was not romantic and had never been sexual, that Amy really was just a sister that Luke never had. I believed them, and it didn't take long for me to forget any and all insecurity I had about Amy. She became my friend too. She officiated our wedding. Luke and I have built a wonderful life together, and we always had a strong relationship. After we got married and moved in together, we still saw a lot of Amy, and I was fine with that. I've spent many a night on the town trying to help Amy find a man, and she has always lamented how she is unlucky in love. Luke and I started to have children after we were married, and at around the same point, so did Amy. For further context, my children are Sophie, 15, Owen, 12, Louise, 10, and Carter, 6. Amy's children are Tom, 17, Kaylee, 14, and twins, Adam and Jenna, 9. Now, Amy was not in a relationship at this point. She was not married. As far as I knew, she was dating, but not consistently. As Luke and I had more kids and our family grew, periodically, Amy would find herself pregnant as well. It happened a few times, and Luke and I never knew anything about the fathers in question.
Who the daddy, Amy? Who the daddy?
I kind of assumed that maybe Amy was sleeping around and not keeping in contact with her one-night stands. Luke agreed this was probably the answer. While I did ask each time if Amy knew the paternity, she always said no, and she didn't seem that worried about the idea of raising kids on her own. So I didn't pester her. Of course, she had us to support her, so there was that. While Amy never asked for any help, of course Luke was never going to let his best friend struggle to stay afloat when she had children to raise. Financially, we are very fortunate and privileged. I have a job that pays handsomely, and Luke also had wealthy parents who already knew and loved Amy, so they were happy to provide for her. My in-laws defy all stereotypes. They are the kindest and gentlest people. So we were able to support Amy to get her somewhere to stay with her kids. People might be tempted to call her a leech, but I never saw it that way. None of us did. She needed help, and we could provide it. I also know people are going to criticise her for her lack of responsibility and question why she never used more reliable birth control. Honestly, that is a long story that I don't want to get into because even I don't feel I fully understand her reasoning, but it was quite important to her that she never be on birth control and that whatever came of that choice, she would accept. It wasn't religiously motivated, I know that, but it was that important to Amy. She really did not want to take birth control. She explained it to me more than once, but I'm still not so clear on the why. Of course, Amy being Luke's best friend since they were kids, it's not unreasonable that sometimes they would hang out together while I'm not there. Hey, that's fine. Sometimes I hang out with Amy one-on-one as well, though Luke does it more. She was his friend first. This included him going over to where she was staying and at times sleeping over there. Was I a fool to trust him and believe nothing was going on? Perhaps. But for years they presented as being buddies, like siblings. I didn't pick up any vibes between them, not ever. As one can expect, our children were brought up together, not in the same house. Our home is decently sized, even though we don't have the room for 8 kids. But we made sure Amy's children met ours from a young age, and they always got along and strong bonds of friendship were formed over the years, which is good. Especially if I'm right and they share blood. I've been stalling getting to the main point. Yes, I've come to suspect that Luke fathered at least one of Amy's kids, if not all of them. Frankly, I do suspect they are all his. I would never have believed my husband to be capable of such a thing, and he's given me no indication that he's the unfaithful sort. But he does spend a lot of time with Amy, and I have to confess I cannot remember seeing her with any real boyfriend over the years. She would talk to men at bars and parties. I would try to be her wingman and so on, but nothing ever seemed to really happen. So when she got pregnant the first time, I was curious. But when it happened again and again, I began to wonder if she had some sort of secret fella who she didn't want us to know about for whatever reason. But I couldn't think of any reason why she would hide him, especially from her children. After Carter, our youngest, was born, Luke and I agreed that the time had come for him to have a vasectomy. Amy's twins had come just a couple of years prior. Of course, after the procedure, Luke and I continued to make love, but I no longer had to think about pregnancy. Meanwhile, Amy never got pregnant again after the twins.
What a coincidence.
Is it a coincidence that Luke had a vasectomy and then both of us stopped getting pregnant? I don't know. But Luke would still visit her, and he wasn't just going to see her, but checking up on her children as well. In general, I should have paid more attention to it sooner, but Luke has always acted like a father to them, especially as they've gotten older. He's the father they never had. He doesn't neglect me or our children, not one bit. He's doing double duty. On its own, the idea that he is a surrogate father to Amy's fatherless children isn't inherently suspicious. One could call it noble, but it combines with a lot of other little things. There is appearance as well. I won't go into specifics of hair colour, eye colour, or unique physical traits, because I'd rather limit the identifying factors of the people involved and keep this whole thing as vague as possible. But suffice to say, Amy's children, they certainly look like they could be Luke's. Kaylee has a very unusual allergy that Luke also has. The twins look very much like him, Adam in particular. The older Tom has gotten the more of Luke I can see in his face and personality. The reality is that Luke is a different race than Amy. And Amy's children look pretty biracial.
It's sounding hereditary. It's sounding hereditary. Related.
You a sister wife,
Sorry,
girl.
what? I could easily believe their father is the same race as Luke.
Wow.
Doesn't mean Luke has to be the father, but it sure seems like it. I have never voiced my anxieties to either Amy or Luke. I don't want to be the bad guy or guilty or innocent. I already know they would flatly deny my accusations and be hurt by them. Imagine if that drama reached the ears of my kids or Amy's kids. Either way, Luke continues to spend time with Amy and her children, just as her children spend time with me. I have hinted to Luke that I feel needy for more attention and wish he wouldn't give as much to Amy, but he either missed my cues or pretending that he missed them. I don't want to push this idea that he's favouring her because it's not even really true. He's never neglected me for her. I can't shake the feeling that Luke and Amy have been intimate before, like numerous times. As far as I know, Amy never really wanted to be a mother either. She wasn't opposed to it, and when each of her children came into the world, she instantly fell in love with them. But motherhood was never really a major part of her life plan or identity. In the grand scheme of things, when we would talk about the future, she would sometimes mention her husband and children, but it never seemed like something she had her heart particularly set on. So, I don't think this is a case of Luke just giving Amy children. I doubt that was the motive for the infidelity. That would have been a side effect. I've been letting this go and turning a blind eye for years. It was a dark thought in the back of my mind after Kaylee's allergy was discovered, but I dismissed it. Got worse after the twins were born. I dismissed it. Then when Amy stopped having babies, I wanted to feel reassured by that. But Luke had gotten a vasectomy, so if anything, that made my anxiety worse. There have been nights that I wish the twins were younger, that they had come along after Luke's procedure. It's been twisting me into knots for a long time, but I don't want to be the one who rips our family apart, especially since technically I could be wrong. Except now I'm very afraid because in the last few months we've had a new development in our kids' social circle. Tom, Amy's eldest, asked Sophie out. Sophie, my eldest, she's really blossomed over the last few years and become quite the outspoken beauty, so I'm not shocked to see she's getting male attention. But Tom asking her out had me thrown. Sophie said no, but only because I'm quite protective when it comes to her exploring dating, and she knew she would have to ask me first. I could tell she was flattered and intrigued by the interest and wanted to say yes. She approached me to talk about it, bless her. She did everything right. I think she expected I would see things her way and agree that she could date Tom. Much to her surprise, I very firmly said no. That caused a bit of conflict. She didn't even want to date him that badly. She just couldn't understand why she wasn't allowed to. And I couldn't explain it to her. All I could come up with was, he's too old for you, which he is, but it's not really about that. When Amy and Luke heard, I was so very curious to see what their reactions would be. If either of them had agreed with Sophie and tried to convince me that the two of them should be allowed to date, I think I would have been relieved and taken that as proof that I was wrong about something going on between them. Wrong about who fathered Amy's children, but the ambiguity continued. They took my side. Both of them put their foot down, though not as fiercely as I did. Luke agreed with me, but he also worried that trying to forbid such a romance would only make Sophie want it more. He's probably right about that. Amy seemed more apathetic to the idea. She didn't want Tom to date Sophie either, and she backed me up. But I don't know. She just wasn't taking it as seriously. She seemed to think it was a fleeting crush. Well, it wasn't. In the months following these conversations, Tom would spend more and more time with Sophie. They would be alone or with other friends anytime they possibly could. It's become abundantly clear that Tom is crazy about Sophie and wants to be with her. And he definitely wants to be physical. I've been watching them like a hawk and noticed his eyes wandering many times. And while I'm doing everything I can to kill this budding romance in the crib, and while I'm doing everything I can to kill this budding romance in the crib, I also am feeling somewhat powerless. Sophie hasn't outwardly defied me. She's still just hanging out with Tom as friends. So forcing them to stop spending time together would be unreasonable and probably encourage more sneaking around. But I'm so afraid that they're already doing that. My nightmare is that they're secretly dating and doing God knows what when no one is looking. I've observed Tom being rather handsy with Sophie, and she presents no objection whatsoever. And I just don't want to say, I had considered trying to convince Sophie that Tom is like a brother to her. But if she doesn't see him that way, I don't really have the power to rewrite their emotional dynamic or the history of their friendship. I always saw Amy and her children as being like family, but my kids might see Amy's kids more as best friends. The problem is, of course, that if my husband has indeed been carrying on an affair over the years, and I'm right about the paternity of Amy's children, then Tom and Sophie cannot be anything more than friends under any circumstances. End of discussion. It can never happen. I feel powerless to stop it, though. Luke has apparently talked to Tom about this, as has Amy, but he is unrelenting and he won't give up on Sophie. I think she enjoys that attention and devotion. Tom has also confronted me and asked why I'm so against this when I know him very well and I know he would be good to Sophie. I didn't know what to say other than to fall back on her being too young for him, but that won't work forever. If, God forbid, they're still attracted to each other in a few years, then they'll pursue this with abandon, and once they're legal adults, there's nothing I can do about it. Amy and Luke agree with me that Tom cannot date Sophie, but that's all they've really done. They feel just as powerless as me to prevent teen love. It genuinely feels sometimes like they've just given up and will bury their heads in the sand about this. Just do nothing and hope the feelings pass as Tom and Sophie get older. Which, yeah, they're in high school. It's unlikely Tom will be in love with Sophie forever, but my fear is that she'll let him do something intimate with her before that time comes, something neither of them can take back. I am close to opening a door I cannot close, this close to screaming at Luke that all this wouldn't be happening if he hadn't cheated on me these many years. If he hadn't been all but raising a second family with his surrogate sister behind my back. Now Luke's son wants to fuck our daughter, his actual sister, because as far as he knows, she's just his childhood friend. And it's all Luke and Amy's fault for what they've done. If I speak up, everything gets blown to hell. On the off chance that I am wrong, I'm a horrible monster who accused the love of my life and one of my closest friends of doing something horrible. If I'm right, it still tears our entire structure apart. The family and social unit we've become over the last several years is gone, and everyone will be stressed and upset even if Luke and I don't divorce. If I do nothing, Sophie's eventually going to sleep with Tom and be his girlfriend, and I'm low-key terrified it will happen sooner than later, or worse, that it's already happened under my nose. I hope to hell this relationship fades as they mature, but what if it doesn't? What if they wind up being together for years? What if they marry, want to get pregnant someday? And if I tell Sophie the truth about Amy's kids, then everyone else finds out too, and that's going to ruin so many lives. It will shatter my kids' perception of their father and their aunt Amy. Luke is Owen's hero. I don't even want to think about how much this would hurt him. And what about Amy's children? They are innocent. They didn't ask for this. They don't control where they came from, and I don't want to hurt them. Admittedly, I'm not happy with Tom at the moment. A week ago, I saw him put his hand on Sophie's butt and I wanted to knock his teeth out. But even he doesn't deserve to be burdened by the knowledge that it's his half-sister he's been fantasizing about. It's all so fucked up and I don't know what to do. I've been looking the other way and letting my husband and his best friend insult me for such a long time. I thought I could live with it, but this business with Tom and Sophie has me stressed. Top comment, wow, 23andMe for Christmas. Maybe order a banjo too. And then Opie says, oh, and about a year ago, I suggested we do one of those just to see Luke's reaction. He was very staunchly against it. Didn't want the government to have our DNA. Kept saying ancestry tests were a scam anyway. I brought it up to Amy, and guess which one of us she agreed with?
I am astonished by the level of delusion happening in this story. As you kept on reading, I was like, girl, that is his first wife and children. You are interrupting their life. That's his first wife and his eldest son. Because let's face it, Tom is the eldest
17,
He's the
of
17
all the children.
It's true, actually.
The race. The evidence is damning, and you're asking. I actually think you're being really irresponsible. If I'm really honest, I think you have been playing dumb for a long time, but you know that you are the second wife. You actually know that. You know you're the wife, but you're actually the mistress. And on top of everything else, you're now about to if you haven't already, let your children in an incestuous relationship, and you're writing into Reddit. That 23andMe should have been done year one. Yeah. You know exactly what's going on. They're playing in your face, and you are the clown. Nah, I don't even have it. I'm so astounded.
No, it's mad.
It's absolutely. This is the craziest story I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, no, it's really, really, really crazy. For me, honestly, anyway, I stay plotting. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's no way we would have got to baby 3, and I'm seeing my own very two clear eyes. Yeah. That something is amiss and I'm not getting a DNA test.
Yeah, I was gonna
even if it's secretly, she's going through so much internal warfare, turmoil, questioning. She's now having to play spy and be all hawk-like anytime Luke is around her daughter. Tom is around her daughter. I'm like, sis, you are stressing yourself out when there is an easy solution.
DNA test.
I would do a secret DNA test, nothing long. My husband's comb brush, take one little piece of hair, someone's fork. I am doing a DNA test because you know what? I don't know how she's living through all of that. She is doing surveillance on her own kids, everybody's kids at the moment. She is undergoing a lot of stress when there's an easy solution.
So what if now Sophie and Tom, what's it called? What if one of the twins what
that's what I'm
doing?
saying. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know how she's living with it because with me, I don't like the stress. I don't
Flowers
like stress.
In the attic.
Yeah, like it sounds like do you remember that book? That was a brilliant book. I don't know how she's living with it. And honestly, do you know what it is? That story was so long-winded, so detailed, and she gave so many different examples of when she's questioned, like as to whether he could be the dad. Like, there's been too many pieces of evidence, too many pieces of incidences, situations. It's all too much. For me, I would have never let it get to that much. Just get a DNA test, secretly get it done, one and done, you'll finally know. Yeah. Even if you only do it with one child, but I personally would do it all 4. Or all 3 because they're twins, so you only need one of them. Get 3 DNA tests against your husbands, nothing long, go and find out the results. And then you can then have a conversation with both of them if that is the case. And if not, then you walk away and, you can breathe a little bit easier.
In fact, you away.
No. Walk away from her questions. Like, this woman is going mad. Like, she must be going through hell right now.
Yeah.
She's going through a lot when it's like, if she gets the results and it's not the case, her husband is not the father of those kids, she can now live peacefully. And in fact, Amy's son that likes her daughter seems to be a good kid, right? In fact, I would be like, now guys, you have my permission, go and get married. She can breathe easily. Yeah. Go and get a DNA test.
That's what I think it is. I think it's just like, it's true. Get the results in from the DNA test and then have the conversation if it needs to be had. Because I think all of this stress, I just think stress manifests itself in the body in different ways.
Stress is a killer.
And I don't think that that's good for you, OP. So just get a DNA test. That's it.
Literally. No 23andMe. Do it secretly, bro.
Yeah, like just do the test and then
You can do it online. It's cheap. Get the kit. Okay, and the last one is from advice. He makes me prove everything. Yesterday, my fiancé FaceTimed me so that I could show him what I was going to make him for dinner, like what I bought with the money he gave me. I did, and he just stared at me. I asked him what was wrong, and he asked where I was. I was literally at our home. He said there were popcorn ceilings behind my head, and we don't have those. I was confused and said those were our ceilings, and he said, show me then. And I did. He said I was being smart with him, and he didn't want to get into a fight about something when he's already dealing with a lot at work. I was confused, and he hung up on me. He did the same last week when he said there were 2 phones in a Snapchat I sent to him of me and my dog. Yes, we still use Snapchat still, but only occasionally. There wasn't, and it was just a mirror behind me making it look like that. He didn't believe me and made me prove it. He said it looked like I had a secret phone or something. Once again, I was confused. What am I doing wrong? I need advice. I don't get it. Edit, I posted a comment, but I wasn't sure if anyone saw it. We're safe now, thank you, everyone, for the advice and the love. Top comment, do not marry this person. None of his behaviour is acceptable. Second comment, agreed. Proving what you bought with the money he gave you is insane. This is all about control over you and is absolutely unacceptable. It most certainly is going to get worse in many ways. Please get away as soon as you safely can. What do you think?
That's mad. Prove. Yeah, she needs to get out.
but she says she's safe.
Yeah,
They
she
got
did
out.
say that. So luckily we know that she's already left. But that's crazy. He's so controlling. It's unhealthy.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, she
Quickly.
needed to leave and she's left, so there's not really much we can say on it.
Yeah.
But
it.
the constant prove
Prove
it
it.
with the money that I bought. He's even questioning the ceilings in his own home.
Prove.
Do you know how mad that is?
I know.
The ceilings in his own home. No, that's crazy.
Oh,
I'm glad she's safe.
Yeah, man.
Same.
Thanks for tuning in and let us know what subreddits and themes you would like to see.
The stories are just as wild, so make sure you come back next week.
See you then.
Bye.